Hi everybody. This is a video tutorial for Wednesday, December 9th, 2020. What we're going to do today is we are going to pause from our reading of The Giver. I know you're really enjoying the story, and I love the fact that you're enjoying the story. I'm enjoying the fact that you're enjoying it, but we are going to pause so that we can talk about a grammar concept. If you remember back a couple of weeks ago, I gave you a pretest about simple, compound, and complex sentences. We have a really good understanding of simple sentences, and now we're going to start diving into compound sentences to see if we can start to grasp this concept. And today, we're going to take some notes on that, and then you'll have some time to practice on no red ink with that concept. While we're taking the notes, if you want a paper copy of them, I did make some paper copies, so you can, of course, grab some of those from the counter over by the other papers that I have. If you do grab one of those, please just return it back so other students can use it throughout the day. You, of course, can take the notes just straight off the board, or later on when you grab a laptop, you're welcome to take a look at these notes through these lesson slideshows that I've posted on Schoology, the one that I'm actually looking at right now. And so you can do that as well. Lots of different ways to access this information. But for our purposes here, you're going to be taking notes off of this. All right, so let's get into it, and I will navigate to today's lesson. So we're, of course, in week 3, and then Wednesday. And here's what we're doing for today. So you already did the reading zone. Don't forget to fill out your reading zone guides, by the way. Next, compound sentences mini lesson. So you're going to take a look at that in just a moment, and I'm going to walk you through that information. And then at the end, you're going to do no red ink practice. Your learning target for today is I can write a grammatically correct compound sentence. So that is the goal. That's what we're doing for the day. And we're hoping that by the time we're done, that you will be able to do your own. So we'll have to see if we can get there. All right? All right, let's get into it. So first of all, I'd like everybody to go ahead and grab their writer's notebooks and open up to the writer's secrets section. Okay? Now would be a great time to pause the video to give the students time to do that. Okay, so now that you have your notebook, what I would like you to do is go ahead and in the writer's secrets section, I want you to put the heading compound sentences. You can do this either on a page that you already have written some notes on, or you can just go to a fresh blank page. It doesn't really matter, but either way, you need the heading compound sentences. Okay, let's get into the first set of notes. By the way, this is a video from Khan Academy that I typically show. I'm not going to show it here. You're more than welcome to go and take a look at it later on if you would like more information about this topic and maybe you just need to hear about it differently. That's totally fine. I don't have a problem with that. But again, I'm not going to go through it here, but it is a great resource to check out. Okay, I would like you taking notes on these ideas on this page. So you need to write down the information that's on this page, if you would please. And I'm going to talk about it as you do, okay? So first of all, independent clause. We've got some terminology things that we need to go through. So independent clause. An independent clause, ladies and gentlemen, is defined as a sentence. They're the same thing. They're equal to each other. So you might be wondering, okay, so if they're the same thing, so why do we need to know it? That's a great question. The reason we need to know about independent clauses is because there are also things called dependent clauses. And you cannot define dependent clauses as not a sentence. It doesn't work that way because not a sentence could be a lot of different things. It could be just a word, it could be a letter, it could be a whole lot of things. So dependent clauses actually do have a pretty specific definition, but for the case of independent clauses, they are just simply sentences. And we need to start to shift our terminology over toward independent clause because we need to start using that term when we're talking about grammar here. This will make a little bit more sense later on, but just understand for right now that they mean the same thing. Independent clause means a sentence. And that kind of makes sense too, because if you think about it, the word independent means it can stand on its own. It's its own thing, right? If you are independent of anybody else, you don't need anybody's help for anything, right? And a sentence is kind of like that too. It can stand on its own. It's a complete set of words that make a complete idea, right? And so they're the same concept. The next one is coordinating conjunction. So a coordinating conjunction is it's a word or a set of words that connect parts of sentences together. And there's a couple of things that help us with that in this definition. The word coordinating. So this means to go together with. If you coordinate your outfit with somebody else, that means that you have planned that you're going to wear a very similar thing, right? So that's what coordinating means. You're working together toward a common goal. And then the word conjunction, the best explanation I usually give that usually makes sense to the most people is talking about like conjoined twins. If you have conjoined twins, then they have been fused together at birth. They are kind of, they're two separate people, but they're also sharing together the same body. So they're conjoined, they're fused together, right? And so that's what coordinating conjunctions actually do in sentences too. They are a word, and they are the thing that brings the sentences together. They fuse the sentences together. There are lots of conjunctions out there in the English language, but for our purposes, we're going to take a look at just a few of them. And they're best and easily remembered by this term here, fanboys, this acronym. So we have for, and, nor, but, or, yet, and so. And of course, that corresponds to the first letter of each of these letters here in this acronym, right? So for, and, nor, but, or, yet, and so. You don't need to memorize those yet. You're probably going to memorize them in the course of what we're doing, but you are going to need to refer to them. So it would be a good idea to keep your notes close by throughout the course of today. Okay? All right. Now would be a great place to pause the video if students still need to finish up taking notes. Okay, so this next slide here is the definition of a compound sentence. And so this I would like you to also write down as well, all right? So a compound sentence, ladies and gents, is defined as a combining of two or more independent clauses with a comma and a coordinating conjunction. Again, a combining of two or more independent clauses with a comma and a coordinating conjunction. Okay, let's break that down a little bit. So we're combining, we're bringing things together, and it's two or more ideas, right? So we need at least two. So we're combining two, right? And then we have independent clauses. Remember, that's the same thing as a sentence. It's the same thing, right? I'll try and write it out here. This writing it with this is a little bit difficult, but I'll write it out anyway. Right? So an independent clause is the same thing as a sentence. So we're combining two or more sentences with a comma and one of those fanboys words. Man, I look like I'm in kindergarten again with this, trying to write with this. It's crazy. Okay, well, anyway, there we go. Fanboys, right? So combining two or more sentences together with a comma and fanboys word. That's really what this is all about. If that doesn't make a whole lot of sense to you yet, don't worry. We're going to take a look at a couple examples, and it will make sense in just a minute, okay? Again, now's a great time to pause the video in case students need to finish up taking notes on this concept. Okay, moving on to the next one. Let's take a look at a couple example sentences. And our good buddy, Walter the Wombat, is back to help us out with this. All right, so here is our sentence. And this is, in fact, a compound sentence. Now, by the way, I would recommend that you would write down probably one or two of these example sentences and break it down in your notebook, like I am doing here, so that this will make more sense to you. So here's our example sentence. The wombat wobbled and he ate blueberries. Okay? So if you remember back to when we started talking about grammar in the first place and we talked about subjects and predicates, the thing that I always told you to do first is to find the verb or verbs. So that's what we're going to do here, and that's why this matters, right? So finding the verb is going to be very helpful in this situation. So there are actually two here. The wombat wobbled. Wobbled is an action, so that's a verb, right? And he ate. Ate, also another verb, right? So we have two verbs in this sentence. The wombat wobbled, and he ate. Now what we should do is we should find the subjects. And subjects I'm going to put in red, okay? So what we ask ourselves is who or what is doing the wobbling? Well, the wombat is, right? So he is our noun, also known as our subject, right? And then we have to ask ourselves about ate. Who or what is doing the eating? Well, he is. And he, of course, is referring to the wombat. So this is actually a pronoun, right? It's a noun that takes the place of another noun. But this is also our noun, right? So the wombat wobbled. He ate blueberries. What we're really actually looking at here, if you break this down, is we're looking at two separate sentences. There's one right here. The wombat wobbled. He ate blueberries. Right? So we're looking at two separate sentences, right? What you have to do if you want to combine those two sentences together is you need to turn them into a compound sentence. And the simplest way to do that is to add a comma and add one of these fanboys words. So we could have this be two separate sentences. We could say, okay, the wombat wobbled, period. He ate blueberries, period. That works. It works just fine. But let's say that you want to combine those sentences together, either because you have too many choppy sentences together in a row in your writing, or if you want to show that your reader that they are related to each other. These ideas are related. So yeah, you can combine these sentences together. And so what you're going to do is you just insert a comma in between and then a fanboys word. And then it's that simple. The wombat wobbled and he ate blueberries. Now, these two separate sentences, what were two separate sentences, here's one, here's two, now they become the same sentence. They're together, combined, right? So that's an example of one of the sentences. Now, one quick note, because I always get asked this. Some students will ask me, well, Mr. Wolf, why can't you just do this? Why can't you get rid of the fanboys word and just put a comma there? The wombat wobbled, comma, he ate blueberries. Well, you can't do that because that's actually defined as something called a comma splice. And what that means is you are trying to splice together two sentences just using a comma. And you don't want to do that because instead you would just use a period, right? So a period works as it's the thing that separates ideas. So and commas don't. Commas show that the ideas are related to each other. But it would be really weird and kind of awkward if we just had full-on paragraphs that were just combinations of different independent clauses with just commas in between. You would feel like you had to read the whole thing all in one breath, and it would feel really strange. So that's why that doesn't work. So instead, you would just use a period, or if you want to combine them together, the comma. But you also need, with the comma, you need the coordinating conjunction. That needs to be there. So that's important. Okay? All right. I'm going to move on to another example to show you kind of how this is all working. Let me clear the screen here. All right. Next one. All right. Another example sentence. The blueberries tasted good, so the wombat went searching for more. I'm going to go through this one a little bit quicker. All right. So again, we're going to take a look at verbs first. The blueberries tasted good. All right, tasted is our verb because it's an action. So the wombat went searching for more. Went searching is our next verb, right? That's the action, right? To go somewhere. This is a past tense of the form to go, so that's a verb. So went searching for more. So that's our other verb. Now we need to ask ourselves, okay, who or what is doing the tasting? The blueberries are the things that actually tasted. So the blueberries is our noun here, right? Tasted good. And then the wombat went searching for more. So who's doing the searching? The wombat is, right? So he's our noun. There we go. That's kind of wonky again. All right, so we have these two separate sentences. The blueberries tasted good. Kind of underline that here. The blue with pink. There we go. Blueberries tasted good. That's sentence number one. The wombat went searching for more. That's sentence number two. Okay. And then if you look very carefully, you'll notice that there is a comma and a coordinating conjunction. For, and, nor, but, or, yet, so, fanboy's word, that's combining these two separate sentences together. Of course, we could make them two separate sentences and just leave them that way. We could say the blueberries tasted good, period. Capital T, the wombat went searching for more, period. We could do that, but in this case, the author of this sentence has decided to combine them, so we add the comma and then the coordinating conjunction. All right, let's look at one final example. The wombat found a berry bush, but a snake slithered out of it. All right, here's what I want you to do. I'm actually going to, in just a moment, I'm going to have you pause the video, and after the video gets paused, what I want everybody, all you to do, all students to do, is I want you to write down this sentence in your notebook, and I want you to see if you can break it down like I did. Find the verbs, find the nouns, and then see if you can identify what the fanboy word is. Okay? So go ahead, pause the video, and see if you can do that now. Okay, welcome back. Let's see how close you were. All right, let's find our verbs first. So here's how I would break down this sentence. All right, the wombat found a berry bush, but a snake slithered out of it. Well, first verb I see is found, right? That's an action, right? We're doing some finding. But then I keep reading, berry bush, nope, that's a noun, that's a thing. But a snake, that's a noun, slithered out of it. All right, slithered, another verb. Here we go, also an action. Now I need to ask myself, who or what is doing the finding here? Well, in this case, it is the wombat, right? So the wombat's doing the finding, so he's our noun. And then I'm asking myself, who's doing the slithering? Well, the snake is doing the slithering, so he's the noun as well. All right, perfect. So we really have two separate ideas here, right? We've got this one, the wombat found a berry bush. That could be a sentence on its own. And a snake slithered out of it. That also could be a sentence on its own. All right, so I could just get rid of these two ideas here. I could get rid of this. I could get rid of this. I could turn this into a period instead, and I could capitalize this A. The wombat found a berry bush, period. A snake slithered out of it. I could do that, but I'm not going to. What I want to do is I want to combine these ideas together. So what I'm going to do is I have this sentence here. I have this sentence here. And I'm going to combine them together with a comma and a coordinating conjunction. For, and, nor, but, or, yet, and so, right? So this is one of those coordinating conjunctions. So I combine these two ideas together with that, right? And that's how you make compound sentences. You literally, ladies and gents, can make compound sentences out of just about anything. I mean, my name is Mr. Wolf, comma, and I'm a teacher, and being the coordinating conjunction. So there's lots of different things that you can do with this, right? Okay. So now what you're going to do is you're going to go to No Red Ink. For those students who have not been on No Red Ink yet this year, I sent you an email with a sign-up code. So make sure that you go and you take a look at that. For the rest of you, the way that you're going to get to No Red Ink, remember, you will just simply go to Google, you'll open up, and you will type in No Red Ink, and then you'll click on No Red Ink there. Remember to sign in with Google. Once you're in No Red Ink, there is a new lesson for you to go through, okay? So you will be able to see your assignments. It's the compound sentences one. So when you're doing the compound sentences one, there's a couple of different lessons in there. I think there are 3. So you want to make sure that you get all 3 of them done. Don't just stop after the first one. And remember that you can take a look at the lesson in there, but it's really just going to go over the same information that I gave you. What you want to do is you want to do the practice. So go in there and do the compound sentences practice. I'd like to see if you can get the whole thing done. And if you can, that's perfect. If not, we'll complete that at a later date. But that's what you should be working on. Okay? So you'll grab a laptop in just a moment. You'll work on this. And then don't forget to put the laptops back in the cart at the end of the hour and make sure that they are all plugged in and ready to go for the next class. And then you should be all set. All right, ladies and gents, if you have any questions, feel free to email me throughout the day. More than happy to help. And good luck. Have fun. Enjoy compound sentences. I hope that you understand them a little bit better now, and we can be successful with them. Have a great day, ladies and gents, and I will see you tomorrow.